My name is Chris Morrill. I'm the Executive Director of the Government Finance Officers Association. The Government Finance Officers Association, or GFOA, is an association about 21,000 members strong with a mission to advance excellence in government finance so that we can build stronger, more resilient communities.
My name is David Lewis. I'm Executive Director for ASBO International. We represent school business officials from across the country and around the world. Our members are the key decision makers and managers of public education finance.
Hello, I'm Joel Black. I am the chair of the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, or as often referred to, the GASB. Our mission is to establish and improve accounting and financial reporting standards for state and local governments in the United States. In doing so, we establish what's referred to as generally accepted accounting principles for those governments, or GAAP.
Hi, I'm Kenny Pointer. I'm the Executive Director of the National Association of State Auditors, Comptrollers, and Treasurers, or NASAC for short. Our mission is to assist state leaders in enhancing and promoting effective and efficient management of government resources.
Well, my name is Michelle Waterworth. I am a partner with Plant to Moran, and I am currently chair of the AICPA State and Local Government Expert Panel. The AICPA is a national organization that represents the CPA profession, really related to standard setting and rulemaking.
So the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report is one of the key government documents, along with the annual budget, for citizens, elected officials, investors in the government through municipal debt to understand what is the financial position of that entity.
What makes it comprehensive is that it goes above and beyond those GAAP requirements to add on top an introductory section and to add at the back a lot of statistical information about the government. So it's a very comprehensive look at the financial activities and more for a state and local government for the year.
The comprehensive financial report is very important and is a key document that school districts prepare every year. And it is a key tool for the school district to outline what they have spent their money on and what their revenue is. So it is a complete financial summary of what the status is within the school district, what they have spent money for, and where they are going into the future. Now, it's a extremely important document because not only is that a way for school business officials to communicate with their community and to emphasize their transparency, and so everybody can take a look at what they're doing, but it's also a key instrument in school districts. They're very often involved in getting bonds, additional sources of revenue, which impact their credit rating. And so a well done and awarded comprehensive annual financial report is key in getting good ratings for them to do with their financing.
Our members are state controllers, auditors, and treasurers. So the state controllers prepare the annual financial report, the comprehensive annual financial report. The auditors audit that document in accordance with audit standards and in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And then also the third leg of our membership, the state treasurer, also is very involved in many cases with providing information to the state controller that is needed and necessary to prepare that report. So you can imagine our members here at NASAC spend a very large portion of their time preparing the comprehensive annual financial report.
It is a report that has a wide user base. If you think about the users of that document, you have taxpayers, you have citizens, you have the bond community, whether it's on the buy side or the sell side, or bond rating agencies, elected officials, and the list goes on. It's really a set of financial statements that report on the historical financial picture of a government. And one of the reasons why it is so significant is it increases the transparency in terms of the financial condition and financial picture of a government. And because it is audited on an annual basis by independent CPA firms, it is a document that users can place priority on and understand that there is, its accuracy.
This issue came to our attention late in 2020 when a stakeholder communicated with us about the concern, and so we have looked into it since then, and that's the issue we're trying to resolve and solve. When we first heard about the issue and we were initially starting to bring the topic up, we reached out to many of our large stakeholder organizations and got a lot of strong support for potentially renaming it, for taking up this issue.
So we learned about the meaning of the acronym for the Comprehensive Financial Report, primarily in the South African context around apartheid. GFOA, we took it very seriously and actually got input from our members, from others in the finance sector to determine, how should we approach this issue.
The AICPA state and local government expert panel got a call from David Bean from the GASB alerting us to this issue.
In December, I think GFOA as well as the GASB, brought the concerns to me almost simultaneously. And of course, at that point, I immediately consulted with my leadership at NASAC.
In terms of the efforts to end the acronym and to rename the report, there's a couple different parallel initiatives going on that we're aware of.
So after getting input from our members and from others in the government finance industry, working with our partners like the GASB, like the National Association of State Auditors, Comptrollers, and Treasurers, and others, we decided that we really needed to do something about this. Now that we know that it's an issue, we couldn't just be silent.
In terms of the AICPA efforts, we have already begun very diligently trying to scrub our literature and our publications and our training content to remove any reference to that acronym. And I know in speaking with my clients and other CPA firms, everyone is really taking this initiative similarly and doing similar actions to try and stop its use.
The GFOA board adopted a policy urging our members not to use the acronym, and also supporting the GASB's efforts to look at changing the name of the report so that the acronym goes away, it becomes a moot issue. Until that happens, we thought it was important to get the message out. It's also a good learning opportunity, we think, to have a discussion about this, why it matters, how, yes, it may be a South African term, but we're part of an international community, and there are government finance principles which extend beyond the US, and GFOA, GASB, others, they're recognized as international leaders in government finance. And so we thought it was important that we stand up and say something about this. For GFOA, we had recently adopted a new values-based code of ethics. And one of the 5 values is diversity and inclusion. And it says specifically in that I, as a government finance officer, should recognize the importance of diversity and inclusion and call out any time that I see that actions or words or other things may impact that value. And so for us, it was fairly simple to say, if we're going to live by our values, we really have to think about what can we do to get people to stop using the acronym, because it is so hurtful to others. And coincidentally, GFOA has a strong relationship with South Africa, and we actually have partners there. And as we shared this information with them, first they were shocked that they didn't realize we actually use this acronym, but they confirmed that it was very hurtful. It's, in fact, one of them said, it's about a time in our history we don't want to hear about anymore. So they're very appreciative of us looking at it. So we decided we needed to do something about it. We got input on it, and our board actually adopted a policy urging our members and everyone in the government finance profession to stop using the acronym immediately.
We, as a encouraging and inclusive organization, always want to make sure that our language is reflective of a positive environment and not being associated with any kind of terminology that could be viewed as discriminatory or offensive. So ASBO International is working very closely with GASB and with GFOA in eliminating the use of the acronym. We've already taken steps from our website and a number of our publications that we're going to be coming out.
We immediately have been educating our members. That's a given. It's something that we got on right away. We will continue to do that on an ongoing basis. But just to show action that we've taken already, the State Controllers Association, NASC and ASC, had a committee that used the acronym that we are discussing today. We felt that was in need of change. And so we've already approached the NASC and ASC, the State Controllers Executive Committee, and we are changing that name of that standing committee. Secondly, we have already examined our website and we are purging the acronym and replacing it where appropriate with a different acronym. And I think we will obviously wait for GASB to give us the official new acronym before we go too far in renaming. But we have removed the acronym in question already.
So the board has tentatively decided that renaming it is the correct approach. We have in our early 2021 board meetings come up with a new name that we propose, which is the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report, whose acronym would be ACFR. So it's the same 4 words, just in a different order to avoid the use of the acronym. We think that's helpful because it relays to users that the content of the report isn't changing. It's really just the name for this important purpose. But the things in between the covers, the information included is not changing at all. The next step for us is to propose the new name as an exposure draft, and then we'll have a 60 to 90 day comment period. So we'll have a period of time for people to kind of digest that new name, and we'll get feedback and make sure that it's an appropriate terminology. So we've really gone through a lot of efforts to make sure that new terminology isn't also in some way harmful the same way the old terminology was.
So as the board was adopting the policy and the acronym policy, we worked to develop a whole toolkit. So if you go to gfoa.org /ETA for the acronym, you can get in, you'll get a toolkit that you can use in your own government. We're really asking folks to, it's not reasonable to go back and change all your PDFs of your past comprehensive annual financial reports, but going forward to stop using that term. And so we have some tools on that, and even a landing page you can put on where if somebody searches that term on your website, they'll get a pop-up saying, we no longer use that term, but here are ways to search for it and make sure that it links back to your other documents. We'll continue to communicate, educate anyone who's contacted us with concerns we've responded to. And, as I said, overall, it's been very positive. And in fact, even some local news media has picked up on it in a positive light about the government committing not to use that acronym anymore.
The next big step is watching what GASB does, presumably with its due process document coming out in the spring, just a couple of months from now. And at that point, we'll all have a chance to weigh in and express our views on whether we believe a change to the acronym is necessary. We'll examine closely GASB's rationale and thought process on reaching a new acronym.
Coming up in April, you will see the exposure draft of the potential new name. We look forward to everybody's comments on that to make sure that it's a good terminology, to make sure there's understanding of what we're doing and what we're not doing, which is changing the content, but really changing, again, the name for this important reason. And then from there, we would hope to issue a final standard and get the name changed officially by the end of 2021.
This is an opportunity for us to make a statement and to say, we're actively looking at anything that potentially could be offensive or be demeaning in any way, and we're going to take positive steps in order to address that. And I'm very proud to be working with organizations that are looking at these issues, making sure that we're on the right side of positive communications in order to attract as many people as we can to our profession, to make sure that we're reflective of the communities where we are. We're in every community across the country. We're in many, many communities around the world. And we want to make sure that our that our language and our communication fits with that reach and scope of what we're doing with all of our stakeholders. So I'm very much looking forward to working with GASB and with GFOA and all of our partner organizations in implementing this change.
In terms of what we are hearing from other stakeholders, everything that I have heard, all the organizations that I've spoken with, whether they are other CPA firms, users of government financial statements, governments themselves, everyone is very supportive of the initiative by both the GFOA as well as the GASB in terms of this and the acronym and renaming project. In terms of making sure that other professional terms don't raise concerns, I think this issue will elevate everyone's awareness. Certainly today, we're not aware of any other acronym or terminology that causes concern or similar concerns. But I think this will elevate everyone's understanding. And, certainly if there are issues going forward, we will have the ability to react just as quickly as we are today.
We don't know of any of the acronyms that we use are hurtful in another language. But if we find out that they are, then we should look at them, see the impact, and see if it makes sense to make a change. So, I can't guarantee that's not going to happen, but I think it's just in the international community in which we work, it just makes sense to be cognizant of these issues.
The AICPA is a global organization. And so some may wonder, well, this is really, terminology that seems to be US based. So why are we concerned about it from a global perspective? While we are a global community, we are all interrelated. We all work together on the same playing field, so to speak.
So while our focus is primarily US based, we understand that we don't have all the answers. We certainly don't have all the answers or know the answers to every single question. We can learn from our peers from around the world, and we do, and we have, and we will continue to do so.
We have a number of affiliates around the world in Canada, UK, South Africa, Australia, and that adds an international perspective to the work that we do, not only in learning a lot of the best practices that is going on in school districts, not just in the United States, but around the world. We're in the business of inclusivity and trying to get as many people involved in promoting school business officials as we can.
So the GASB's taken up this project, hopefully not just because it's a moment in time in which these things are happening, but because it's the right thing to do. At any moment, I think it's always good to be considerate of others, to be kind to others, to do the right thing.